Welcome to Paul's Little Room.
Welcome to my little room. Welcome to my little room. Welcome.
Today I'm going to be doing a review of the Meze 105 AER or Air. And before I show you the headphones, I'll just very quickly show you a bit of the box and the packaging it comes with, and otherwise you can see a unboxing video as well. Meze were really generous sending this boom mic with my 105 Airs, and I've opened this already, but you can see the packaging is very nice. Comes in this nice protective pouch, very nice, and for roughly 80 UK pounds the level of quality here is exceptional. I think this is real metal. Yes, I think these are cast aluminium components which have been given this a lovely, the same gunmetal finish as on the headphones. See that lovely metal there, and just the attention to detail here is it's exquisite. You get this lovely little dongle, that's a 3.5mm stereo connection. Now look at this. The splitter has a volume knob, which is it's a volume dial, which is real metal. That feels fantastic. This button is to mute and then unmute, I do believe. Very nice feel to it. These are rubber, just like with the cable that came with the headphones. This feels the same. Now the boom mic itself, it just connects really easily, just like that, and it's light, it doesn't budge, it's a nice secure fit. This is adjustable, that really adjusts very easily, and I'm going to be enjoying using this at work, so I'm going to do a long-term review of this boom mic at a later time. So back to the review. So it's quite a nice box this comes in. It's got a quality finish to it. It's got, you can see it's got like a pebble texture. You can just about see it there. It's very nice graphics, nice design. It has quite a premium feel to it, and opens up to reveal quite nicely protected foam. And then inside, obviously I've taken the headphones out, you get this lovely clamshell, very nice protective clamshell, very smart, with the Meze badge on there, metallic plastic, but very nice. And the headphones themselves, got too many things in my room, they're rather beautiful. They fit quite snugly in that clamshell without the cable attached. The cable comes in this very nice little pouch here, which just does it velcro in? I think it does. No, it just sits in there. It just sits in there. So the cable, it's very similar to the cable that came with my Meze 99 Classics. I think it feels like a slight improvement. I don't know if the most recent 99 Classics and 109 Pros come with the same cable, but what I do know is this feels nicer than the one which came with my older version of the 99 Classic. So on the amp end, there's actually just a 3.5 stereo there with a 6.35 adapter. I would have preferred there to be a balanced option in the box. For £400, yeah, I think most people who will be listening to these headphones, being fully open back, will be listening on a dedicated amp at home, and will probably appreciate having a balanced connection. But if you are listening on your, let's say, MacBook Pro, as am I understand if a 3.5mm connection is appreciated. So the two cables that go into the headphones are actually rubberized, and the main length of cable is this quite nice feeling. It's quite business-like, but soft to the touch cloth, and it's thin compared to a lot of other cables that come with headphones from other manufacturers. If you look at this, is the Fostex T60RP cable. That is relatively thin, but that's still thicker than this one. And the cable which comes with the Harmonicdyne Athena is substantially thick. That's a very, very thick cable, braided cable. For these headphones, I think this is very nice. Ergonomically, you'll see in a minute, it's quite a very, very organic and light build, and this is a very light, it's a hassle-free cable. You can use this in other headphones because they're just standard 3.5, but when I see I'm putting things down all over the place, if you see on the 105s, these fit very nicely. Nice reassuring click there. There is just a 90-degree, there's no angle forwards to stop these brushing against your shoulders. However, there's absolutely no sound from that rubber at all. So if I attach these now, this is absolutely fine. If I do this, I can't hear that at all. So very well done, Meze. Now, one other aspect of the cables before I go on to the rest of the headphone build is the 99 Classics have a recess, as do the 109 Pros, and that makes buying a alternative cable from another manufacturer very difficult, because there's a very narrow recess for those to go into. But these, however, this is flush, so you can use any cable from any other manufacturer you like. As an example, bit of a weird example, the Harmonicdyne Athenas come with these very heavy metal barrel ends, but again 3.5mm. There you go. So if you wanted to, I don't think that's a good idea. The cables this comes with suit it much better, but you get my point. So onto the rebuild of the rest of the headphone. So when you open the box, you're going to realize, first of all, this is very elegant. It's a beautifully designed headphone. Every aspect of this headphone has been carefully thought about. Well, obviously from an aesthetic point of view, this is very, very nicely thought out. Ergonomically, it's a fantastic. There are these open grills. This is a plastic, nice quality plastic. There's quite a nice texture on there, so it's not shiny to the touch. It's actually matte. It's I would say if these were made out of aluminium, they're not. I would call this a shot peened effect. So they mimic the look of much more expensive headphones. These retail for 400 UK pounds, and so I think they retail for $400 US as well. Maybe they're slightly cheaper to get there proportionately, I don't know. Look at this lovely finish here, real metal, gunmetal finish. And the same one here. This is a lovely metal connection for the headband. This is a sprung suspension strap. This is not real leather, which is a shame, but £400, you're not really expecting real leather. This is it's a faux leather. It's got the Meze branding on there, and it's good thickness to it. It does feel a little bit stiff though. For me, I have no hair here. It feels all right. These are not very heavy. They're around about 320 grams, and because the clamp force of these lovely soft velour pads, or these actually synthetic velour, because the clamp force is relatively high, these get held in place very securely, and because there's quite a lot of force this way, there's not a lot of force going down, and because these are light, it's fine. You can wear these for hours. They're very, very comfortable. And if you lie down listening to music, then they're not going to fall off, which is another one of my gripes about other headphones. One thing I would say is that if you do have a large head, you might notice a contact spot here if you have no hair particularly, and the elasticated comfort strap, it will feel a little bit tighter the higher you go. So if you have a large head, bear in mind you might have a few discomfort issues, but not many. It's one of those things. If this was £1,000 headphone, then I would want this to be real leather, but soft leather, Now, this is a real metal mesh behind here, and I really love the look of these. Stainless steel matte band, and there's a rubber gimbal on here. It feels reassuring, the quality. I know that over time these will fail, but over a lot of time, over years of use. But the great thing is Meze offer replacements for every component separately, and these can simply be taken apart with a screwdriver. So very nicely thought about, very nicely designed headphones. Now, I thought I might compare, before I go on to the sound of these, I will compare the ergonomics to the two other headphones that I'm going to be talking about in this review. So the Harmonicdyne Athena and the Fostex T60 RPs. Now, to illustrate the fact, I've got a measuring device, digital measuring device. I used to design jewellery, and I'm a sculptor, but I was making jewellery for a good 30 years, so I've got a few tools left over. So if you look at the opening to the pads in the 105s, there you go. So vertically 65 millimeters, and then width-wise 45 millimeters. So some people's ears might be rubbing on the back here. If you've got very wide ears, mine stick out a bit, but they're not big ears. These are deep enough for my sticky out ears, by the way. I think depth-wise, 20 mil. So they're not the deepest, but they're not the most shallow. And on the inside, there's a very nice, feels like real silk actually, material in here. You can see the drivers. Well, you can see in certain light, you can see the driver. You can mostly see there's a plastic netting behind that to protect the driver. But it's very comfortable place for your ears to be, certainly for little ears like mine. Now, if I compare that to the Harmonicdyne Athenas, they've got an angled, actually angleable, because you can turn that. So if you look at that, the opening, actually, is it about the same? Wait a second. No, 45. So this is the same, 45, and then the height wise is, oh, exactly the same. There you go. Exactly the same size for your ear to fit into, but depth wise, there's about 15mm. So these are shallower, very comfortable still, but your ear is going to contact with the driver there. Well, what covers the driver. And then going on to the Fostex T60RPs, very nice leather here. These are angled, so the Meze 105's pads are not angled, they're just lovely and soft. These are real leather, angled again, like the Athenas, and these are firm, and the space that your ears fit into, they are just 40mm wide, right, so they are quite narrow. And then height wise, so I can understand why people are buying replacement ear pads for these. Depth wise, they're just, yeah, no, they're 15mm as well, just like the Athenas. So really I would class these pads as medium size. They're nice and deep, and they're lovely and soft. I think that's normal foam. I don't think it's memory foam. They're a little bit warm to the touch, but these are fully open. The Athenas and the T60RPs are semi-open headphones. These let in more air, and if I hold this up to the light, I can actually see, light coming through. Although there is tuning material in here to filter out certain notes, certain harsh sounds, and that will stop some of that light coming through. It's interesting seeing how these are constructed, how the different manufacturers tune their headphones. So yeah, lovely build. I'll just say, look at that, isn't that gorgeous? Oh yeah. Anyway, now I made myself some notes because I've really enjoyed this. I've taken my time. I've been listening to the 105s for about a month now, every single day. I've got a large headphone collection, and I'm testing quite a few models for review from different manufacturers at the same time, but I really find myself just chilling with these headphones. I've really enjoyed the experience. So the equipment I'm using them with, I do listen to CDs, and but I also listen to streaming sites. So I'm listening to Tidal and Spotify. I also listen to music on Amazon as well. CD players I'm using, the Moondrop Disc Dream 2, and it's a retro. Actually, can I pick that up because it's very small. I wouldn't say portable. Well, you can take it in your rucksack, but it's rather lovely. I like how retro this is in appearance, and I'm using this because it's got an internal DAC, very neutral sound, good for spaciousness. If you have headphones which have a very good sound staging, these are, these have quite a this has quite a neutral. I want a neutral sound so that I can add EQ if I need. I have another CD player, the Sony CDP-7F, which is a 1980s, I think about 1987 it was produced, top loading, just like the Moondrop, but that has a slightly warmer sound, and it's just lovely. It does have an interior DAC, which is totally out of date, so you do need a decent amp when pairing with a vintage CD player. But the Moondrop, I can listen to that by itself without having to power through an external amp. However, headphones like these, which are quite power hungry, do require a more powerful source. So if I do want to add EQ, I'm using the Duke One Little Bear 5-band equalizer. So it's a very cute little solid metal device with analog adjustments. If you have, something lacking in any of those areas, or if too peaky in those areas, you can adjust it slightly. So what I tend to do, I listen to headphones primarily without EQ as much as possible. I've got a topping A90 amp, which is very neutral sounding, flavourless, which is what I want from an amp. And then what I'm doing is I'm using the Dork Audio as a preamp to add warmth and body, if there isn't any, and to tone down those elements which are too sharp, let's say sibilants in the 10K area or 3K area, or you can bring up areas. Now, going back to these lovely headphones, when you first listen to these, you'll notice that they have I would describe them as a subtle, relatively gentle tonal balance. They're not forcing anything in your face. You don't have the mid-range coming heavily forward. These actually have a very slight V profile, but very slight. I would liken that to the Hi-Fi Aria Stealths in the shape that it's making with the vocals. So there's a slight amount of warmth to the mid bass, slight drop off to the sub bass. So there's more detail in the mid bass, giving the effect that the vocals are just slightly, they're in the right place. They're not coming forwards in the mix. If you have music which has vocals which are very forward, then you're still going to hear that. But it seems to be a very, I would say, quite realistic balance. Now, the mid treble is very nice. It's silky, but plenty of detail, plenty of nuance and texture. And that's where a lot of the beauty of the music can be found with these headphones. There is a drop off in the upper register, so above 10 hertz, 10 kilohertz. What you'll find is you can easily listen to music which you might find a bit too harsh on some other headphones with these, but they're not artificially bringing up the sub bass in order to achieve that. Everything these headphones does is done tastefully. There aren't any sudden peaks and sharp notes over the other notes. Now, what I found is some music where I am used to hearing a lot of treble information, I found it necessary when I did add EQ to just raise the treble a little bit with these. That isn't necessary with all music at all. It's simply with some music I was listening to. It's very balanced. The vocals are not, fighting for position in the mix. You might find adding a little bit more at the 8,000 hertz area can improve the sense of texture and detail in the vocals. Actually, that's all I found I wanted to do, but by no means do you have to EQ these. These are headphones where you can happily listen to these without EQing. Both of these have some treble peakiness, which can be a bit unpleasant at times. So I find myself, a good example is listening to Queen. Some of Freddie Mercury's vocals can be a bit pitchy. They're beautifully sung. It's the way they're recorded. If you have quite sibilant, sensitive hearing and sibilant, sensitive headphones, they emphasize those notes, then it's going to be a bit of a strong, harsh experience. At no point did I find that with the 105s. The 105s, they have a silky, a romantic sound, because they're very, very nicely balanced with the bass, the treble, the mids. There's detail everywhere you need it to be. Not as much as with, 1,000 quid headphones like the, well, some of them, but not the hi-fi ones. However, with these, compared to the Fostex and the Harmonicdynes, these fill in all the gaps better. These are not for chasing detail and bringing it into your face. You wouldn't say these are detail monsters, but what you would say is if you're looking for detail, you're looking for the information in the music, it's there. One thing to note, these are relatively easy to drive. You can plug these into a phone and listen to them okay. You can listen to these easily, easier than these on a phone. These, you need an amp, a decent amp. I've actually got my topping A90 on high gain to listen to these. These, there's a bit of a surprise and a very nice one. Some of the reviews, I looked up quite a lot of other people's reviews before I tried these myself, and I noticed that there was a disparity between what I was experiencing and what some of the other reviewers were experiencing. Now, if you plug these into your phone or plug them into just quite a low powered amp, or even if you plug it into a desktop amp on low gain, you'd think, yeah, these are easy to drive, yeah, I can hear everything. No, you're not going to get the level of impact that these are capable of in the mid bass. And even the upper treble, you'll find a little bit more zazz, a little bit more flavour to the sounds if you actually power these more. I'm not saying you should overpower them. On my topping A90, I have these on mid gain, and when I was EQing them, I just turned it down but still had it on mid gain, added a bit more power with the Duke Audio preamp, and what you find is these can take it. There will be distortion with the sub bass if you overcook the power. However, when you reach that sweet spot, you'll be surprised how much more detail these have than if you don't power them adequately. The Athenas, they really don't benefit anymore from, they don't scale well. They sound good with whatever you play them on, but they're limited. Great, I would say, imaging, fantastic. These are more affordable headphone, about £250. Very good imaging for this for the price. They've got a warm and inviting, fun sound, but they lack a bit of that finite detail, that connection between the different instruments, those sounds between those different elements. These are lacking, and then you've got that bit of excessive spice where you might not want it. These, you can turn the volume up, and you're not going to be blown away by dynamics, but what you are going to notice is that there's fullness where you need it. There is information in the music where it's intended, and they really are fantastic. For a dynamic driver headphone, they do actually have a lot of body and detail in that bass. They don't have a hit your chest impact. These do have a hit your chest impact, but it sacrifices a bit of the detail. These, you've got the detail, you know. And then the music, these have that sharp bit of sibilance, a bit too much spiciness sometimes compared to these. Imaging wise, I'd say these have fantastic imaging for £250. These have fantastic imaging for about £300. Detail wise, these hands down, these beat the Athenas, but then the 105s. These, I would say, are much more, well, not much more sophisticated than these. They are much more sophisticated than the Harmonicdyne Athenas. They have a relaxing sound when you want it to be. I can turn up the EQ. I can add those dynamics where I need it to be. And if I'm listening to electronic music, they're not the headphones you would automatically want to listen to electronic music. I have a feeling that these were almost designed for electronic music or R&B as well. These are still very good. So I'm not saying these are bad headphones. These are actually fantastic. And these actually have an angled driver, which I rather like. These don't have an angled driver, but because of the openness, this is a fully open, although it's got tuning, it's a fully open headphone. This is almost fully open, even though that's there. You've got holes all the way around the edge, and then this is definitely semi-open. Airy for a semi-open headphone, but the problem with semi-open headphones, you will sometimes get dips and troughs where there's literally material in there. What you're getting is some of the music there's going to be a dip, and you're not going to hear the detail at that frequency that you will with a fully open headphone. The headphones I'm developing myself, anyway, they're semi-open, but I'm finding it difficult to do the tuning side so that you have that open feeling. The reason I'm doing semi-open is to try and get the body and the bass impact that you find a bit hard to get with open back headphones. So let me talk about some of the music that I'm enjoying listening to the most on the 105 Airs at the moment. This is an album called The Occasion by Harkness. He is a Canadian artist and he is fantastic. This album came out in 2021, I believe. What's great about this album is it's got those retro vibes, a bit of Beach Boy feel to it, with certain tracks. There's some electro pop, there's some singer-songwriting, there's fantastic elements of acoustics in places. There's a mixture of intimate recording stage and epic sound, which I really enjoy. Beautifully recorded album. So this track is called The Occasion. It's the very first track on this album, and it's epic, it's delicate, and it's loud where it needs to be. This is the second track on the album called ID, and oh, it's just so relaxing. These headphones, they have all that lovely texture and atmosphere that you need for a track like this. Can you hear that? It's got wonderful warmth. It's like having a sunny walk in the summer, and just having all the flavors and sounds and textures around you. So these headphones, they will highlight the detail in Harkness's voice and the instruments, but they show the level of staging that he adds to his music. He really does put an excellent layering to his tracks, which the lyrics really need that, because he's telling a story with his songs. I would say the drama of his songs. So one other album before I finish, I'm going to talk about Goldfrapp, and this album is called Felt Mountain. This is an album which I used to listen to my Hi-Fi Man aria stealths as an example of something that can be very, very sibilant, very treble strong, but it has so much detail in the recording that if you get a good enough balance, it's a fantastic listen. It's you know, drama. These headphones, they get that level of texture and detail fantastically. When you initially play that album without EQ, just a good strong amp, you're going to notice that the notes that might slightly irritate, they sound sweet. This adds a sweetness. One pair of headphones which I would liken these to in the treble. Where are they? I've hidden them. Here they are. These are the Sennheiser 660Ss. Vocals wise, these bring the vocals further forwards. There's more texture and there's more obvious body in the vocals with these than with these. However, treble wise, these both have that sweetness. There's music which you just know it's got detail, it's got drama, but you can't quite take that you know, those upper register cymbal clashes or the vocalist might have a voice which is quite shouty. Oh yeah, you know, romantic. So there you go. I love rambling. I don't like editing very much, as you can see. So I hope you've enjoyed this review. I've very much enjoyed listening to these headphones. If you just listen to very bass heavy music, you're not probably the kind of person who'll be listening to my review anyway. But these are more nuanced, these are more sophisticated than that. These deserve more of a sophisticated outlook. You can listen to you know, bass heavy tracks with these and they'll do them very well, but you know, orchestral music, yes. Singer-songwriter music, yes. I would just consider just tweaking the 1000 hertz. So at 1000 hertz, bring it forwards a little bit, just a little bit. Cat Stevens, Billie Eilish, you know, vocalists with, you know, a lot of tracks with a lot of emphasis on vocals, you know, you'll do fine without EQ with these still. So there you go. I very much enjoyed this. Goodbye.